Hello, Collective, and welcome to a timeless collective reading where we discuss whatever the topics that want to come up within this storytelling time. Bear in mind a few aspects of the reading that I, 7th, am reading for this channel for the energies of Bastet. I do run 2 sister channels. This is one of them. The other is of Sekhmet. To reach that channel or other aspects of this channel, feel free to check out the description box below. You'll also find a link that you can access if you'd like to find out more information as to who I am as 7th, as well as book any services that I have made available for you via that. What else? Remember that you have tapped into a collective reading, okay? This is not a personal one-to-one connection that you and I have set time for, so it is imperative that I remind you to use your discernment to take the bits and pieces that resonate and leave anything behind with me as you leave the reading behind. This is a general collective reading. Again, this is however long the reading would like to take place. Alright, I am 7th, aka Master 7th, that reads these energies for you. I am a master healer that provides remote wellness alignments and these tarot intuitive insights such as this. Alright, as for clarity, again, the description box below will have access for that information. And just remember that feminine and masculine energies are non-gender specific. However, femininity has both feminine and masculine aspects, and masculinity as well as feminine and masculine aspects. All right, I'm just trying to understand the vibe. It's very hands-off. Deity, take the wheel. It's to trigger a contradiction, however. The contradiction being that you think you're all hands-off when actually you're all hands-on. And you're in this moment of this highest version of control of self that you may not give yourself internal credit to being the one to control that. So you may want to label that as intuition, the trigger word to help you search for something outside of your skin, outside of intellect, outside of and within the construct of curiosity, and seeing which way your anticipation flows, either towards or away from it. And how many times in life may you have gotten 5 of Cups, may have you been in a situation that you wish you had a better understanding of, to figure out whether or not you were meant to be more in control or more hands off and allow the control to take place on itself. And both have an equal side. They both have a story to tell. The biggest outcome of looking at that whole entire picture is that it is imbalanced, right? It seems like, well, for face value of the card, there's 2 in the back, 2 in the back and 3 in the front. So, but the polarity of them being similar is that the objects that are being compared are the same objects. How they're being placed, how they're bringing off an image, how they're bringing off some sort of symbolism and definition for themselves is the trigger of what is to be seen. And there's an imbalance to that. And the imbalance in life may also be down to the haywire of, not being very secure of certain decisions that you want to make, that if you had more finite clarity would relax your anxiety. Or it could be truly anything, right? Anything where you're uncertain, and that uncertainty is still required to pay attention to, but it's difficult to pay attention to it, right? Because it's anxiety. And the last thing that you remember to do with an anxiety is to listen to the anxiety, right? Because you're dealing with the symptoms of its various different triggers to help you know that, oh, this is an anxiety attack right now, you know? Yeah, that's the fragile part of what is also beautiful in life, the bumps and bruises along the way. There is an old school, ancient soul version of also personal opinion that I have that, you know, life is not meant to live with too much sterilization. If you sterilize yourself too much, one, you won't build an immune system. And whether that is sterilization with, you know, education, knowledge, wisdom, body contact, Mother Nature, you know, political viewpoints, being a bit more shoved into a direction that's all encompassing helps one find similarities or dissimilarities, and they're meant to swing in favor of the one that's inquisitive, which is then you. And I think it's uber important to have such a sacred acknowledgement of how multi-level one is, beyond breath, within breath, under and over it, next to it, and use that same analogy in every aspect that gets you to have a thought, to share an opinion, to have judgment, to bestow wisdom, to have maturity, to give opinion and criticism, constructive or cynical. All right, so we're looking for a bridge within ourselves to kind of allow uniformity to begin in what could be swayed to the favor of the most acceptable form of neutrality within yourself. One where you will find the most, I don't want to call it Zen because it's not at 100, but it is the steps towards nirvana. Be mindful that in this state, you are meant to be immersed viciously, intricately, and intimately with what it means to be the species of human. So you may remember certain memories that are bittersweet to re-remember. You may feel yourself needing to sneeze, to be funny, but to be real also. Some of you may feel the need to go to the bathroom. Some of you may feel that you don't want to go there, but know that you've already went there. And this is a great opportunity for your intellect to gain the wisdom of what has been unleashed. And then feel proud that you attaching yourself to the flow of what is to be understood gives you the acknowledgement that time is not linear. The human experience of sensation, of sensory, memory, touch, hearing, listening, yearning, ego, soul, that is the human experience. That is where we get to collectively look at the human experience and bring it to an average of what it may mean. And then we can politicize the opinions of ourselves and of others and filter it through indoctrinating another said new human entering this world with the possibility of the resources that are available to them. Now, again, these are ideologies that on the highest form of intellect, of appreciation and sustainable vibration, would be the closest to in favor of you than not. But if we've looked around for generations, looked around with thought, looked around with critical thinking, looked around with justices and injustices, mercy and pain, we kind of get to also assume that life isn't fair. So there is this weird Pandora's box that seems to never want to be opened. However, we also know that it already is open on its own. And there is a proactive mystery that you will maybe claim with curiosity, as mentioned earlier in the reading, that you may hint at that you might want to go towards. Yet the closer you may get to that, certain times in life you may just have said in that moment, oh, hands off, Jesus, take the wheel. Because the fear of what you may know to have been true and it being stamped to be true is as cunning and as concerning for a lot of sensitive individuals that they rather not know, but they know damn well that to know is better to not know. And that is also another layer of the human experience, right? That question is it better to know or not know? I mean, that's the other braid intertwining itself of who accepts esoterics or not, who accepts the possibility of somebody coming in and sharing with you or another person, or you overhearing someone else say to someone, I want to go get a tarot reading. They're like, ooh. There's still bits and lots of pockets in the society where that is like, oh, I don't know if you should do that. I don't know if that, I'm religious. Like the immediate like, oh no, you shouldn't do that is weird. For when you take that scenario away for a moment, like you remember that you just kind of like cut it out for a second, and you look at other particles that have that same bias, that same like, oh no, I'm religious, is when someone else has another religion other than you, when something crazy happens, like insane happens, and someone does a criminal act and you lost a loved one, and you don't know how to anymore intellectualize computing coping mechanism skills, so you just rely on God. There are people who do that, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong to do it. There's people who have that intricate knowledge of themselves that they're allowed to explore what works for them or not. But I'm just trying to highlight that when people say these things, or you witness people behaving in these types of manners, that also dissects. It dissects rather than unites. And that's a problem for me, for a viewpoint where collectively as a species, however many different degrees of differences there are to this species, it all gets funneled into the same fucking place. Comes from the same place, leads into the same place. So I'm perplexed with the ego that still decides to be more intricate in detail to continue dissecting, just to give them internal pride of, I'm bigger than that, I'm on top of that, that is not of me. It's a bit snooty, not a bit, a lot snooty. It is egotistical on the borderline of narcissistic, because there's a difference of being egotistical and prideful. To be prideful of who and what you are is fucking completely different energy to be around of and within than someone being a narcissist. Like there's a fucking difference, right? Anyway, all right. So, where is the polarity funneling for us, for you, for the one listening and believes that it's them? Where is the funneling of opportunity going to reunite and give me the highest form of vibrational acceptance that I can achieve of myself and about this, or about anything, or about something or someone, without feeling like I'm more hurt, although I went in wanting to know more information. And let's be honest, how many times have you stepped into a collective reading and you had expectations. Although open-minded, you had expectations, and they were triggered with resonancy, just like this reading may have been. And it included a version of what you were anticipating, what you were expecting, what you're, to be honest, neurotic about, right? Because you really want to know. You can't get over this. You can't get over this feeling, which means this feeling is probably attached to someone or something, and you can't get over it. So you want to get closer to something, someone, some substance, some matter to confirm why something within you is neurotically on alert saying, I'm mattering. This is the topic, I'm mattering. Figure me the fuck out. And you're like, I'm battling with my internal self if I even fucking want to. But then when you get closer, that allows the internal perplexion, the perplective area to be triggered when you come into maybe even a reading or someone that is like mysterious, right? You're like intrigued. You're like intrigued with like, tell me more. Like, how do you know that I'm emanating in this reality of mine, right? How close can you get to my reality? And we do get filled with that. Little do we know, the reason why you get filled with that resonancy is because you give out that frequency and you do not know it. If you recalibrate yourself to understand what within a collective reading is just your energy coming back to you, you will have a better understanding as to why you're also in fear of making the message that you actually expect to be made clearer of more exact for yourself, and not jump into many collective readings and narrow down the average of how right you are. Because let's be honest, you already knew from the beginning how right or wrong you were. So you do not need more than one to affirm, reaffirm, or cancel that of which it is internally your quest to affirm, reaffirm, or cancel. You don't. You think you do. Adventure of time and different possibility and resources and drama and entertainment allows you to, but that is not the truth. It is not the truth. That is not the honesty. The honesty is you already fucking knew. It's like the same knowing that you are possibly, or an analogy of someone possibly having such a huge crush on someone, but knowing damn well that the knowledge of you having crush on someone also comes with statistics and resources. And this analogy, this resources is attached to that this person that you have a crush on is actually in a relationship with someone else. And you're over here like, I can't shake this fucking feeling though, that I can't get over this feeling. But collectively, on the resources of the matter, you already know this moment in time, this person is not yours to claim. Yet in the mind of wanting to claim and reaffirm or cancel, you're dissected with a journey that you don't know how well, or possibly challenged with a chess game, how to play this game with yourself. Because half the time you forget you're playing this game with yourself. It is not you playing the game or me playing the game with you. It is not you playing the game with your neighbor and that neighbor playing the game with you. It is not the crush that is playing the game with you and you playing the game with them. It is you playing the game with yourself. And once you understand that, inclusion of the traumas that have been bestowed upon you where you are the victim, the traumas that you may have bestowed to others because you're the predator, all that still, no matter who else is included as subcategories to the story, subcategories to a community, categories to being a collective piece to family or other, it is still your fucking business. It is still you and you and you that you must master. Because without all that, you're just mastering a quality of holding hands together. But the breakage and the irony of holding hands together is that no one has an individual chance to blossom. So, what is the perspective to seeing something? So, with that last question, what is the perspective that we have on seeing something? We're learning. We're learning what grows us, what opportunities are within us already. And that is inclusive of everything. And this card is to also remind you that everything is inclusive of the shit you don't want to fucking talk about, the shit that you don't want to embrace in the future, or the shit that you're running away from the past. All that shit is fucking included. And this is where you get a little bit of that sister and Sekhmet energy coming in, because what the fuck do you think you mean you are as afraid as you are, and then still have the highest of highest expectations when you may be a victim or a perpetrator, however the perspective may go, to being in the position of saying a prayer or two and expect the universe to gratify you with the highest form of vibrational honor of that prayer, when the highest vibrational honor of you includes the trauma and the bruising and the difficult fucking choices, and you turn a blind eye to that. The species of humans collectively that I can think for and be part of, because I am part of that and I'm critically thinking, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I have empathy when you don't know. I have compassion to teach. I had the patience to watch and learn and be part of the journey of guidance. But when it comes to triggering and a person is left with still pointing that I'm the perpetrator of wanting to dissect so that we can unite again, blows my mind. It blows my mind. It blows my mind so much that it blows me right back into the position of where I needed to be, where that blowback is such a security that I'm like, all right, I'm an independent person trying to be a person of friendship with you, whether that's relative, neighborly, strangerly, humanly. I'm already dissected from you. I am in my own body. What unites us is the emotional intrigue of what flows from me and flows into me and what I share, and vice versa. I have empathy that not everyone will like me. I have compassion that not everyone is in the same timeliness and agenda and journey as me. However, I can't fucking understand that when I decide that I require also of refertilization to what I fertilize, that again, I am the target and that I am malicious for making that request. And that's how I know that the blowback is so off cunning that, again, like I just said a moment ago, it blows me right back into the position of where I was before. Which means if it blows me back right into position of where I was before, that means I did not need them. So I have to live with the blowback of the answer that I do not need them. And I think more people need to be on this isolated journey to really understand what that means to be in the face with someone and know that you do not need them. That the quality of sharing life with a person is the unconditional pursuit of already mastering the conditions of choosing another person other than yourself. Because you mastered a version of all the particles that are in chaos or in curiosity of yourself, and learning to have a relationship with that. And the speed and the wellness or the illness or the disease or the fractures or the burns and the cuts and the bruises and the healings to having that relationship with ourselves is exactly why we would have more compassion to having a relationship with another person. You're immediately more surrendering because you're surrendering to particles within yourself. We've been inundated and going on a 6-year anniversary of a 2020 vision. 2020 vision, 2020 crisis. What did 2020 do? on a global collective, on a 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 perspective equals 4, everyone is asked to understand what the frequency of fucking 4 is. Remember your foundation. That's the root value of what it means to philosophize over the number 4. And we're over here like rooted with memory of what it means to have experienced 2020. I don't have to remind you what that is. You immediately already know. And that's what it means. Everything and then some. All right. As you notice right now, there's a lot of wisdom that has come through this reading without a major arcana in its presence. So you, my person over there listening, you're giving me a lot of aspects of your own possibility. Because to be in this position to take all this in is to putting you in a position of where you feel resonated. What shifts do you have to do in order to fulfill yourself with the full glory of the message? The illumination. The aspects of yourself that have agreed are the aspects of self that are already mature. And they're not meant to be lost in action. They're not meant to be lost in not making decisions. Some of these decisions are difficult decisions, but they're part of what we already know now within this reading. They're a part of your individualism. They're a part of your meeting your own self, mastering your own self, making decisions so that you can also reap the reward of making a decision. And you can also maybe learn that you could change your decision, but you need to get through a decision to learn the next step. Form fitting. We have the Ace of Wands. With the Ace of Wands, we have the Ace of Cups. Form fitting. The equal truth that the human experience, although divine and can be wisdom bestowed, is but a personal one. It's a very fucking personal one. And the only thing that's grand is how well you emanate the personal connection you have of yourself. Because that's what glows the furthest about you. If you don't know who you are, you won't be reached, you won't be seen. Explore that at which you are. You'll come off immediately as generating energy as to what it means to be you, and then you can be seen. And in the moment you are seen, you may be wanted, you may be desired. And that is also part of the growing pains, learning how to date, learning how to be a friend, learning how to be a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, a grandma, a grandpa, a cousin, an uncle, an aunt, a stepmom, a stepdad. All those things are secondary to that of which it is you need to explore yourself first. I was just going to say, I would be quite shocked if no fucking major arcana comes up for you, but here we are. We have the Magician. You are all that. You require that long to have that much of a relationship with yourself. If I need to use the word, meditate yourself in that reflective dance. Take that time. Take those hours, take those days, take those weeks, maybe even months. Do that work. Do that work that you say that you've never had time for, because work to get a paycheck distracts you from giving yourself the excuse that you don't have time for yourself. But meanwhile, how many shits have you had today? Or will you have this week? And in that moment, you can have that moment. In that moment, when you're in the shower, you can have that moment. The moment before you go to sleep, the moment after you wake up, you can have that moment. There are no excuses to certain routines that are ordinary and organic to the experience to gaslight that as an opportunity to show up for yourself when you're already there. You're already there. You're already sitting at the toilet. You're already in the shower. You're already in the bed. You're already waking up, going to sleep. Your intentions are already there. What about everything else in the mind with the moment? And imagine what that can fucking do. After the Magician, we have more support with Justice and Temperance energy. This is more support. This is the energy that you think is responsible for Jesus, take the wheel. What's underneath here? Yep. The one where you're like, I'm throwing it up in the air, and sometimes it's victorious, sometimes it's not. Or sometimes I need to just wait and see, and then like that wait and see is like, see, I knew it. I knew if I threw my hands up to Jesus, Jesus got the wheel. I knew it. And meanwhile, it's only just aspects of you. It's aspects of you. I would blow your mind right now and make that very fucking clear, but this is not a personal one-to-one connection, so I'm not going to be able to achieve that. Nor am I interested to give you a snippet, because there is an aspect to what maybe you're still not listening for in this reading. You got to do it for your goddamn self. If your mind is in chaos, I do also believe that a psychic cannot help you, because you will not be able to help the psychic get a clearer energy perspective of symbolism to be read if you're not clear to be read. That's also how that shit works. So if you in root don't want it, you're going to leave it with the same impression going in, because you're emitting that energy. And then maybe you're mind blown, because although you may have heard the description read and what you see turns out to be fucking purple, you're like, everything else was actually kind of right about it. Yeah. Same thing with the journey of really not wanting to go but going anyway, and then look what you fucking learned at the end of it a week or so later. Like, Jesus, take the wheel. Take the wheel. Ugh. Oh man, so many questions. There's so many questions that you have. So many questions. And it's because there's just so many personalities also within you that just want to represent themselves and give you clear, concise differences as to why they're there and why they also do not care to give you chaos. It's just that your subtle interest gives you subtle information. And it's your job to master that if you've tapped in. If you no longer want to, then you need to blow yourself back right into the first position. Mind your own self business. Right? And that would also require doing the dirty work to get those quote unquote personality traits out of your system, out of your distraction, to remind you that you have different personalities that would like to show up. Meaning you need to do the dirty work of maybe going to a therapist, learning coping skills, learning how to self-care, rerouted back to one. Like, This is still your responsibility. And it will become more your responsibility if you blame religion as the reason why you are here. Meaning, if you blame an entity, as in God, as being the one to know the right way of you, that includes your darkness, my friend. That's the devil almost wants to show up here. Where is it? It's funny, I pulled Judgment, but I definitely just saw the fucking devil card. You have death card at the bottom. Devil is down here. Anyway, 10 of Wands. Yeah, it's your shit to master. It's your bullshit to master. And you need to accept that version of yourself. You need to accept that the whole fucking globe went into a fucking crisis. Everyone has a weight to carry, a burden to carry, a burden to offload, a burden to maybe also keep with themselves because it's part of their identity. But you need to make claim of all aspects of what belong to you and know the relationship that you have to it. Even if it's in a singular moment, to capture it and let it slip. Eminem song, Eminem title, Eminem song, lyric, whatever. Just stutter. Alright, anyway. You know, fuck. Every time when I see this card, I'm just like, where the fuck am I? Who am I reading for? Because for Sekhmet, can't stand it. And instantly like, just go on a rampage. On this channel, I'm like, alright, signed, sealed, delivered, I got the message, but let's be done with it. It's the Seven of Swords. Can't fucking stand that card. Alright, and then we have the World and the High Priestess. I don't need to explain why I don't like the card. The energy may explain itself. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. But what is clear when this card comes up is there is maleficence. Alright? Whether it's you, whether it's them, whether it's the whole fucking universe perspiring an idea that something is just not sitting well. Alright? Something shitty is going on. Something nasty. Something smelly. Something fishy is going on. Something like, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I want to go into that tent back there and figure out what the fuck is going on. But it's just not rubbing me the right way. That's it. That's that energy. Why do I need to get specific as to why that is? That energy of me becoming aware that I might be around may exploit themselves on its own, requiring less work of me and more natural work upon them, which means that if I let it just rock, it will roll, and then maybe I'll get out of the fucking way. Avoid being run over by this fucking bulldozer. So it's almost like waiting and patient. Is it me? Is it you? Is it them? Is it it? What's going on? It is an energy of being on your defense, learning your offense, dabbling between the two. Which round of chess game are you playing next? Are you leading with the white? Or are you secondary with the black? Which one is it? What kind of political move is going on here? What's the jive and jiggle? What's the secret? What's the honesty? What's that wordplay? What is for me? What is not? What is going on? So many fucking questions. And I'm willing to sit my ass down and wait for that person to come and give me the fucking answers. At the same time, we need to make an appointment. Because I don't know when I'll have time for all that, right? That kind of energy. Don't know if I'll have time to hear out your answers. Because I don't know if I really want you to be the one to give me those answers, where if I think about it a hoot more, I may already know. It's just I might do something a favor if I timestamp a version of congruency on it. And that's where it's a bit ego, a bit selfish, a little like, is it prideful or is it on the verge of narcissism? And that's where because it's also collective, we're gonna have to wait and see what's going on. What's the message? How are we here to jive and jiggy? One second. What other dynamic can be reached? A letting go dynamic with the death card coming through. The Tower. There is no other alternative to the story. That is the story. That is the story that will be the trigger to help you figure out what was triggered and what is your story. What is not of yours and what is yours. What is yours to build and what is yours to maybe use outsourced resources, but to remember it's not your resource to have used to build, but you use it as a resource for the building. And then you have a commonality in that. You have respect in that. You have compassion, hopefully, in that, in knowing that it's not just you who built this tower of intellect within yourself. Universe needs to see the eyes of internal inquisition covering the aspect of your own righteousness and wrongfulness behavior and illuminating that judgment upon yourself. Because the energy is of transparency, of people knowing your fucking business before you open your fucking eyes. The veil of that existence is becoming more and more fucking thin. Whether you can compute that ideology as a truth or not is absolutely irrelevant to now stop listening just because this message doesn't resonate. Not implying that it didn't. But those judgments were in there because it's hard for you to believe. But what it's not for you to ignore is the internal excited energy that there is something to be anticipatory for. There is an energy within you that I would like to stress is the forgotten mother instincts within you. It starts with your intuition. It starts with cognitive intellect and also an ongoing war that I'm willing to participate in saying and reminding everybody, stop saying history. It is her story. But forget that little nuanced bullshit. It's not God. And the slightest, it's goddess. And then the most, it's motherfucking nature. Femininity is creator. Not that masculine God shit. It's not. And if I now again triggered impossibility to stop believing me now, know that the whole entire message up to this point included that ideology. It was already braided in. So whether you like to accept that that part is within you or not, is again a multi-version of femininity. That's feminine and masculine. And masculinity, that's feminine and masculine trying to compute itself. Make sense of itself within yourself. With all aspects of which is triggered as being human. And finding that security of knowledge and latching onto it or not. Yeah, that's all that feminine creator shit happening within you. Yeah, all that feminine creator. Yeah. In the darkness where you were created, feminine energy. What pushed you out? Feminine energy. What may have caused trauma? Feminine energy. Also masculine energy. All that jazz. Strength here to remind you of that, to remind you that the feminine energy is that of the emotional roller coaster ride. The feminine energy is the expression of sensory imagery, sensory collectivity or memory, anything having to do with human touch. It's all fucking feminine. It's all all feminine. And then you have pursuits of action, which is masculine. The pursuit of receiving, that's masculine. The pursuit of asking is masculine. Pursuit of getting to one place to another, that's masculine. The bruising of memory, masculine. The femininity to reflect, feminine. The memory to reflect is feminine. Three of Swords. I mean, do I have to remind you right now how you may be feeling or how this reading may trigger you? I think not. But how rejuvenating it also feels to be broken, maybe within this reading, and feel also fucking safe. And that's the fucking point of it. That's the point of it. It's the point of allowing something beautiful to feel momentarily ugly so that you can actually see the beauty of what it actually is, to never be in fear of it. Because you were told maybe a long time ago to never step into the light. Now you have to be manipulated in order to trust the light again, when that light is just you. You have to trust you. You have to be told to trust more of you. The chaos between you and it is all of you removing yourself from it that is of you and your light. And you've been indoctrinated to ignore that viewpoint. The bits and bounces of high momentous moments and low moments of life is proof to the pudding of that possibility. It's never been right. And it's never been wrong. It's been exact. But you know there's more, and that more is an elevation, not of a quantity. Yeah, that's Six of Wands here again. So, despite all the pain, right, there is something hopeful to look into the eye of. Is what she's doing, right? Like where it hurts, that truth, and you don't want to look into the truth. There's something hopeful there. There is something that has been made clearer of. It is like, oh, look, the eyes can physically close and something else can actually illuminate, which is your third eye. All right. The secret of your success, your own relationship to your fucking third eye. The moment you shut the fuck up and listen to what the fuck is going on there. Like, everything is triggering your consciousness at this moment, whether you like that shit or not. It includes AI, or your acceptance that AI is now in society. Something is here to attack your intellect. Period. Whether you accept it or not, whether you chat with ChatGPT or Claude or all those aspects or not, or you do it or not, or you do it selectively. You hate that, but you do online dating. Like, there's too much and a lot of invisible powers of data streaming through. And for you to think just because you're behind the wall, but the Bluetooth goes through the fucking wall, that energy doesn't go through you, also is mind-blowing to me that you may not accept that. That's a problem. It's a big problem, right? It's like someone wanting to critique me that I have Bluetooth headphones on and I'm doing the reading. Like, don't you know that's unhealthy? Don't you know? Don't you know you shouldn't do that? Like, you can get cancer and all that shit. Yeah, so is your attitude and the need to be nitpicky. That can give me cancer too. Anyway, not the point. I am digressing, but my digression always goes back to a fucking point because it blows back us right back to the fucking position. So. Right back into position. Knight of Wands. This isn't about how whatever accolades you achieved. This isn't about that shit. This isn't about being like a queen or a king. You are you. And right now, however, You're not the highest version of you, and that is why it's the Knight of Wands and not a king or a queen or empress or emperor card or a high priestess for the matter as well, or the Hierophant. There are no other labels to you besides Knight of Wands, the warrior in the Homo sapien experience that can smell, touch, hear, move, exist, think. That is difficult enough. That is difficult enough to show up to your internal wars and battle them and vice versa. Do that intricately. Do that well. Show up. Be a soldier in training. And know that you will graduate. You will graduate into yourself, what you're always meant to, what you've always strived to do. And doing that comes with rewards of others wanting to be part of that journey. They already are part of that journey, and you're questioning most of that journey, whether that's maleficent or not. If it's maleficent feeling or triggering already, you already are in a crisis mode. It is a maleficent situation. You're just not allowing yourself to stamp it that way. However, if you acknowledge that it's rooted already in negativity, you doing a negative situation is not going to cause more negativity. What you need to do is acknowledge a positive situation to combat this negative situation so that the positive outweighs the negative and you're bounced back into the position of who you are. You have the Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, the Five of Pentacles. If you're someone who's suffered with suicidal ideations, but this collective reading resonated, suicide is not for you. Not that it's for anyone, but it's definitely not for you. Other people's concerns and traumas are within you. And that's their triggers, their insight, the fact that you can accept that version. You're that sensitive to pick that up naturally. You're the sponge picking up that Bluetooth through the wall. You are the wall, Bluetooth seeps through you. You're picking up their negative vibes. They're not sending it to you. You're picking them up because you're collectively smart enough to understand that that is not a positive situation. It is not a positive frequency. You may not know that this is a negative impact to your body right now. So you are living in that confusion. You're living in that expression of that confusion. If something felt homey about this message, it's because you're becoming clearer in accepting that it's actually you not having full fundamental control of who you are. You need to relearn how to get control of that which it is you are. And the moment you participate in that acknowledgement, you'll learn what you've let go of. It's a euphoria. It's a breath. It's a acknowledgement. It's an acceptance. It's a feeling. It's a vibration. And it's fucking tranquility of peace breath. That's for sure. And it's an area you've never reached before. And you will have bypassed that negativity once you reach an area you've never been in before. And that was all organically in favor of your intuition, your belly button, and your fucking third eye, and listening to this message. All right. You have the Page of Wands and the Hierophant. I love that for the ending of this message because you are proving to me with this card that the message of being a Knight of Wands, a warrior ready in your skin to participate, and you're the Grand Master of participating in the skin that you're in, but the viewpoints to you right now is not as mature as really where it needs to be, because since the beginning we've been saying, Jesus, take the wheel, and you've been ignorant that it's actually you taking control of more of you, and no Jesus coming in and taking the wheel. It's you. Because without it being there, without you being there, you will never know that this is a situation either in your favor or not, right? You just collectively collect out, and you're like, no. And that is in favor also to the inner child. The inner child is here in the second as the Page of Wands. That is the foxy, curious, foxy, intuitive little explorer of self that is ready to be like, what is out there for me? I am ready to go. I do know how to be maleficent and stay a bit in secret, but I don't mean to hurt anybody, you know? And this is where you're also learning to take your viewpoint now and teach your inner child how to grow and be elegant and be charming and be less abrasive, less problematic, more resilient, more consensual, more exact with the boundaries. Even if you have to go back and rehash them, these are the boundaries now. If you want to change them, you can change them anytime. You do the changing and no one does the changing for you. These are fundamental growths that might sound silly, but you will also fucking appreciate you meeting a 99-year-old that remembers to be a child. And then remembering that when you're 99 years old, to be a child. And then to also remember that as you're growing into the stages of however long you get to make it through this journey, to always be fair to the child, whether that is your inner child or your actual physical children or any other person's children, right? Like, we do it for the children. If the child is also fed or neglected or abused within us, so it has to start there. It has to start with us being the angel and devil of our own selves and master the relationship with our internal child. We have to. All right. That is all that I have for you at this time. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. And may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.